Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and today I'm bringing you my November TBR. I can't believe November is almost here. It's very exciting. I actually really enjoy coming to the end of a year. I think part of the reason I'm really enjoying it is because I'm close to the end of my TBR, though I did add books to it in the month of October. Piffed. I think this is going to be a fairly quick video, unless I waffle a huge amount, which is entirely possible. I have 16 books on this TBR, which, as you'll know, my average is around about 19-20 books, depending on audiobooks and where things fall. I'm doing a little bit less, partly because there just aren't as many books to be read, but also because I still have all of my Last Chance TBR. Ding! I will link it there. So if I finish all of these, that's what I'm going to start. And I didn't want to talk about those again because I've talked about them fairly recently. And you can go watch that video. 14 of these 16 books are physical. I don't have any NetGalley books on my TBR at the moment, which I'm sure will change because we'll start getting the stuff trickling through from early next year. But at the moment, I'm going to revel in the fact that currently my digital TBR is very, very low. I want to finish Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb, which is the first book in the Tawny Man series, which is in her Realms of the Elderlings, I think that's what it's called, universe. I am progressing through those via audiobook, so maybe I will also pick up the next one. Not sure what that one's called, but yes, I want to finish that one. I am currently working my way through it if Audible will open. I have 10.5 hours left, so I'm hoping I can finish it right at the start of the month, but then my Audible credit doesn't come in until the end of the month, so we'll see. The other digital book I want to read is I bought a Kindle copy because it was on sale of Raybearer. I don't know a huge amount about this book other than I know a lot of people who have read it and absolutely loved it. It's on a lot of people's top lists. I expect it will make top lists for the end of the year. And I wanted to read it and it was 99p. And honestly, I'm a bit of a sucker, so I'm excited to read that. Now I'm just going to work my way through the stack. So I have 2, maybe 3, but I think 2 novellas, one of which is Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Galey. I think this was on my Books I Missed in 2020 video, and I did an order with Portal Books, which the first 4 books in this TBR will be, and I got really tempted and I picked it up, and it's futuristic, western, but queer, I think? I'm pretty sure. Fight the State, Be a Librarian. I mean, what else could I want? I am really, really excited to read this. As I say, it's not long, but Esther is a stowaway. Oh, yes. The future American Southwest is full of bandits, fascists, and queer librarian spies on horseback trying to do the right thing. They'll bring the fight to you. I'm so excited to read this. Should be a nice quick one. I'm going to do an amber and balance all of these behind me. There we go. Ooh, thank you very much. My other novella is Burning Roses by S.L. Huang. I am so excited to read this. I saw this, I think it was in a tweet, and it was just one of those moments where I was like, I need to possess that. I must own it. And again, I was making that Portal Books order. I had to go for it. It's sort of original fairy tale Red Riding Hood. I don't know a huge amount about this, but I will tell you all about it when I've read it. Again, I'm pretty sure this is gay, and I'm so excited. I think it also features middle-aged protagonists, which isn't something that you get super often, so I'm very excited for this. And also, it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. There's something about a hardback novella. It's so frivolous. I love it. The next book is a YA fantasy. I've got a few of these on this list, I think, but I haven't bought a YA fantasy in quite some time. But I dropped my phone on the floor and I bought a copy of Legendborn. I've had a few people talking about this. I'm still on the hunt for a great King Arthur retelling, and I think YA can do it. I just haven't quite found it yet, and I am excited for this. I think this is fantasy meets the modern day kind of book. I haven't read a YA fantasy in quite some time, and I just think this looks like it could be really, really good, and I'm excited. Ding! Last of that Portal Books order is another book that I think everyone on BookTube has already talked about. This is Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Morena Garcia, and I am tentatively excited to read this. I don't read any horror, so this will be interesting, but this is Gothic horror, so I think it's going to be slightly different. I don't know. As I say, I might end up loving horror. I'm dubious about this purely because I read Gods of Jade and Shadow and didn't love it. And I have been assured that this is different enough that I probably will like this. And all the people I know who've read it, I really trust their opinions. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. The next 3 books are actually loans from the lovely Asha. I'll link her below. I went to see her, when would it have been? Last weekend, and raided her bookshelves because that's what friends are for. And I borrowed 3 things from her. First up, I have Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helena Corcoran. I am so excited to read this. This was also on my books I missed in 2020 video. I think so was Mexican Gothic, so we're ticking things off that list. I think pretty much everything I know about this is that it's gay, and I need that in my life. We have a teenage queen, we have a spy master, learning to rely on each other and discover that all is not fair in love and treason. Write a book better for Judith. One of the things Asher said about this is that it really feeds into the politics of it, which I'm excited for, because sometimes things with politics can be overly complicated, and sometimes they're really, really good. And I think this is going to fall into the really, really good category. So, hype, hype, hype. Asher then lent me her review copy of The Wolf and the Water by Josie Jeffrey. This is Josie's latest book. This is Atlantis, I think. I didn't request this. I probably could have done, but I was just in a I need to finish my TBR kind of mindset at the time, so it's nice to get to read it. I think this is going to be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to love it. I will say that from the off, but I am excited to try it out and read it. Josie writes very good romances, so I'm hoping there's some good romance within this book. And lastly, Asher lent me what she described as her favourite ever Beauty and the Beast retelling. This is Bryony and Roses by T. Kingfisher. I recently read a T. Kingfisher short story in Escape Pod and absolutely loved it. So I'm very excited to read more of their writing. Yeah, I love a Beauty and the Beast retelling. What can I say? I'm a very predictable person. Okay, so the blurb of this basically just says the plot to Beauty and the Beast. So I'm excited to find out what makes this different, what makes this extra, whether this is just a really good version of the story. I'm excited. I trust Asher's recommendations more than pretty much anyone in my life. Asher has never recommended me a book that I didn't love in our entire friendship. And she's also responsible for getting me hooked on some of the very, very special books that are now in my life. So I trust her opinions, but we'll find out if maybe this time, for some reason, everything's gone terribly wrong. I do have 1 review copy currently on my TBR, but it actually comes as 3 books because I really want to read books 1 and 2 in this series. I've talked about this in blogs, but this is the Hollow Gods series by Rebecca Levine. I have read these before. I read books 1 and 2 in 2017, I think, when I was doing a lot of my reviewing with books I got from the library, which if you're looking to start book reviewing, it's a great place to start. So Hodder and Stanton reached out to me and said, "We noticed you've read book 1 and 2, do you want to read book 3? And I said, yes, absolutely. And then a tiny voice in the back of my brain went, you don't own books 1 and 2, so you'll need to either buy them or find them somehow and reread them. Thankfully, depending on which way you look at it, I'm going up to Derbyshire next week to see my parents who have just moved house, and I need to take books with me, but I don't want to take physical books because heavy, lugging things about the country. So I think I'm going to pick up books 1 and 2 on Kindle and read those, and then read book 3. So I'm going to try and bash through the entire trilogy, which is something that I really, really love to do because I really like to see a character arc across 3 books. This is, I believe, Grimdark. I think the first 2 are quite harrowing, and all I really remember is that there is a sort of circus in the first one, but we're getting into sun goddesses and moon things, and yeah, I want to refresh my memory of this series. I'm slightly nervous that I'm going to discover I hate it, which is partly why I'm not committing to buying physical copies of all 3 of them in case I just want to quietly be like, 2017 Judith was wrong. It's a precarious tower of books. The best kind. I have the last book from my reread jar. I did put enough in my reread jar that would last me a full year, but I have taken the Harry Potter books out of it because I don't want to reread them anymore, and I have taken out something else, some other problematic author that came out this year. I took them out, and I also read a few extras throughout the year, which you'll see if you've watched my vlogs. So we are down to the last book, and it is Runelight by Joanna Harris, which is also on my Last Chance TBR. So I am reading 1 book down from that. This is the first book in her. Yes, it's the. What's the reverse of a sequel? Essentially what I'm trying to say is the next book is Rune Marks, and then you have the Gospel of Loki and the Testament of Loki as 2 other books in the same universe. This is like the Norse gods and goddesses coming back, I think. And basically I've hung on to this because it was signed, and I can't part with it, but also maybe I can, I just need to reread it and see if I like it now that I've not got the pressure of an intense TBR. Is kind of my thinking. Next, I have 2 books that are on my Secret Project TBR. I promise I will stop calling it Secret Project soon. I need to do some more filming before I can tell you all about it. But again, you probably will have guessed what it is. I have Turning Darkness into Light by Marie Brennan. This is one of my favourite books of 2018, I think. And this is a follow-on from the Natural History of Dragons books, where we follow her granddaughter, the main character from that's granddaughter, who is a linguist and an expert in draconian languages, and she goes off on an adventure, and it's so, so good, and I'm so excited to get to read it again and just revisit that world. I am just out of space, but it's perfect because we're on to the last book. I know I've read this fairly recently. I was in the midst of desperately reading down my TBR at the time. This would have been in July, August, and I want to reread this. This is Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Joanna Brown. This is a YA fantasy featuring competitions, courtship, mistaken identities / hidden identities. I remember really enjoying it, but clearly not enough of it has stuck with me, and I would really like to read it again, so I'm quite glad that it came up in my secret project TBR. So yes, as I say, there may also be books from my last chance TBR on this list. There may also be different audiobooks. I'll probably end up picking up something from the library. I might switch some things out for review copies. I honestly don't know. I cannot predict the whims of future Judith. That is actually everything that is currently on my TBR. So if I can read all of this and I don't pick up too many books, we stand a pretty good chance to be at TBR 0 by the end of the year, which would be just fabulous. Not in the least, because then I can ask for books for Christmas and then read them. Ooh. I really love books. Are you reading any of these? Do you want to read any of them? Do you need a person with whom to read them? I am excellent at buddy reading. Don't ask Justine about what I'm like at buddy reading. Comment below with any of your thoughts on any of this. I'd love to hear it. You can also, while you're down there, follow me on my social media. It's all linked below. You can subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Oh, my cup of tea is over there. I'm gonna go and get it, maybe? No, let's film the video. That can be my motivation to not waffle for too long. 15 of these 16, no, 14